on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Turn it up! It's the Wild Wild West, and Western Spring Television is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you don't miss out on every of the fun and happenings around you. Yup, we've got you covered because your girls got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be shown on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Can you imagine the feeling when you get your news as the break with facts and clarity? Our news are reported as it is.
In Africa, and all those who masterminded the way it happened will have to pay a price.
Enjoy Western programs, projecting culture and tradition to the world. Brought to you as the break and recapped every hour for your update.
We must never forget the sacrifices of the heroes of Nigeria's democracy.
Produced and brought to you in a unique...
Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Good morning to you wherever you are viewing us from. Welcome to Morning Spring, the midweek edition, right here from the station that says it as it is. Western Spring Television is the name, and we'd like to welcome you on behalf of the entire transmission team. Hope we had a restful night. It's another time to be together and to do justice to the needful. And this is where we serve you virtually all you need to know, ranging from politics, security, entertainment, sports. It's encompassing. And I'd like to say thank you always for keeping faith with us right here from the station that says it as it is. TUNDE IDOWU is my name at Irresistible TD on X. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. It's good to be back here again to do what we know how to do best, giving you quality conversation about issues of public importance, especially at this time, every weekday, 7 a.m. That's what we do here. We start with the major stories in the headlines. And of course, at the other side of that, we then get talking about these issues on the front burner. That's what we do here, both national, subnational, and sometimes beyond the shores of this nation as well. FEMI Ojo is my name. I'm very happy to know that you are there. You can follow us on our social media handles on X, on Facebook, and on Instagram. And of course, we are live right now on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Please do well to like, share, and subscribe on that channel as well. It promises to be very, very exciting. Part of what is happening, many things have happened in the last 24 hours.
Absolutely.
Chief among that, especially as far as the economy is concerned, it's about the tax reform reports
submitted to Mr. President
by the task committee put together, headed by Mr. Taiwo Oyedele. Of course, just a few months ago, that team was put together, made up from different persons from different backgrounds, who the president feel they could come up with something nice. You remember there was a particular young lady, there is a young lady who is an undergraduate of Nigerian University. That she's part of the car committee as well. So the committee came out yesterday to say, we're done with this report. Here is our recommendation. And the president adopted that. And looking through, many things were said. And it's about IGR having enough revenue, generating enough internet-generated revenue from every part. Because when you talk about tax, it's about a particular percentage.
You get,
you pick from somebody's income, what they have to do from a business, from a corporate entity, to make sure the instrumentality of the state is kept running. And this is part of what you do. And we'll be interrogating that further. But one of the news that came out yesterday that stood out for me was a conviction and sentencing of a particular medical doctor.
In Lagos.
In Lagos, that was accused of rape. And then we got to know a verdict was given yesterday, and he has been sentenced to life imprisonment for rape. And this is one thing that sadly we are hearing, we are seeing. It's not entirely new, but then in 2023, you feel people just think people should know better on some of these things. Why should somebody forcefully, harass, bully, molest somebody sexually? Why will a normal person do that?
You see, it takes quite a whole lot, because even if this pen is not mine and I see it on your table, the right thing is for me to ask. And I would just suggest that the right thing for you to, you admire this person, why don't you talk to him or her? When there is an agreement, it's easier, it's fun. Hey, Fem, can I borrow your barrel for the next 20 minutes or whatever? Oh, go ahead. It's the conviction that, yes, for the next 20 minutes, I own this pen. I can easily do whatever I want to do with it. But when I now begin
that's consent, giving the consent, and that's what it is.
That's just the simple terminology.
It's a condemnable act. It's something that should not be heard in you know, the community of sane people, one would say, why would you want to do that? In this case, the thing was even against his wife's needs. And then you're thinking, it's a family thing. If actually you must, you know, practice your infidelity, or you want to be immoral, or you want to just go outside your marriage, by the way, that's your cup of tea, but do it
the right way.
By the way, is there even a right way to immorality or infidelity?
It's not right.
There's never a right way. But you feel you must have
consent.
Yeah, consent is very key. Very key. And so when you head people down, either you drop them, or you beat them, or you do that thing at gunpoint, it's condemnable. It should never. And there is never any reason that is enough to do that. You know, sometimes people say to the victim some pedestrian kind of questions that are annoying. What are you wearing? What time was it? Why did you go to his house? Who was there? What were you looking for? Sometimes some persons have even accused some of, you know, policemen to say some of the questions they ask you when you go to report will even make victims not to really go there. And, you know, many persons are speaking up on the matter, many social activists to say maybe these will serve as a lesson for everybody to know that this should not be done. Femi Olale is the name, and has been sentenced to life imprisonment for raping his wife's niece, and he was the managing director of Optima Cancer Care Foundation. That is one thing. The trauma might not really go away from the victim, but we stand on this platform to say rape remains condemned and it should not really be condoned. There is no reason at all. Either the victim or the person in question is appearing naked, although we are not saying people should be naked or appear nude to know, but then no reason is enough to do that. Justice has been served, and it's been seen to be served in that particular case. We'll take a short break right now. When we return, we head straight toward the papers are saying. Please stay with us.
Born Jeremiah Oyeni Obafemi on March 6, 1905, Obafemi Awolowo was a prime architect of Nigeria's independence and most consummate advocate of free education and social welfare in Africa's most populous nation. Erudite politician, thinker and philosopher, Awo was fondly addressed by associates and political colleagues, brought his unique attributes to bear on governance in the defunct Western region. He administered as leader of government business and the premier between 1955 and 1958. Obafemi Awolowo's premiership witnessed pioneering in multi-sectoral policy initiatives and execution. The Western region under his administration paraded several enviable records. First television station in Africa, first real estate in Nigeria, first high-rise building in Nigeria, first modern sports stadium in Nigeria, first agricultural settlement in Nigeria, first modern civil service secretariat in Nigeria, and first industrial estate in Nigeria. His face is on 100 Naira denomination as a mark of honor for his distinguished services to his country. Western Spring Television identifies Obafemi Awolowo as a major character in history.
You're welcome back, and we head straight to the headlines right now, made up of very interesting stories that you will really like, as far as information is concerned. Here we go to the Nation newspaper, The Nation for today. Boldly written there, 288, 266, that's 288,266 apply for police job in 1 week. And FARC saves 289 billion from September revenue. Fine, boldly written here now. Federal government unfolds forex, tax, jobs, investment policies. Federal government unfolds forex, tax, jobs, investment policies, and 260 taxes to be slashed to single digit. Merging of BDCs, forex apps, dealers into official forex market. Talking about some of the recommendations submitted yesterday in that report by the Tax Reform Committee. The key points with a basic, under the basic focal points: forex, tax, jobs, and palliatives. And this is a quote: "We have over 60 taxes and levies unofficially. Those taxes are over. We have over 60 taxes and levies. Now, officially, those taxes are over 200, making life difficult for our people." That's a statement credited to Mr. Taiwo Dele, the head, the lead, the chairman of that task committee that has come out with that report. You might want to pick up a copy of that report to see what is really going on and the detail therein. Moving on. Oil thieves deploy CCTV mortar launchers along pipeline routes. Oil thieves deploy CCTV mortar launchers along pipeline roads. Wow, what an audacity. Oil thieves are deploying technology to steal and to even attack, because when you hear mortar launchers, you're talking about people setting up ammunitions for whoever comes into their range, and then the thing goes off. This is really getting more serious, and it shows that these are not just ragtag persons. These are not just technicians who know how to do something. This is a cartel who has put in heavy investment to even safeguard the territory in which they are stealing from. And NNPCL security, we won't relent in battle against criminals. Please don't. Really. And Akeredolu receives Sanwo-Olu, Makinde, Abiodun Oyebanji, Ayedatiwa Rights Chief George. Okay, that's that. You have the picture there from that meeting that some southwestern governor had with Arakuni yesterday in Ibadan. You see his picture there. Clark seeks exclusion of Abia, Imo, Ondo from NDDC. Why? You get to pick up a copy of the Nation. Clark seeks exclusion of Abia, Imo, Ondo from NDDC. Going back to that meeting that some governors of the Southwest had with Akeredolu yesterday, I saw the picture, and most of the video that was online credited to that meeting had no audio. Yeah, many persons were thinking, why will you put up a video without an audio? Who made the recording? Is there something that's been hidden? At a time like this, many conjectures will be put together. And top strip, U.S. court rejects the request for FBI's report on Tinubu. U.S. court rejects the request for FBI's report on Tinubu. This is still ongoing. And land racketeering rocks FCTA. Police firms get allocation. The police now? Fake firms, rather, get allocation. You see the picture of the FCT minister there. And EFCC chair orders staff members to declare assets. I think that's the way to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. If you must prosecute people, you must be seen to have come clean yourself. And Senate defends 160 million Naira SUVs for National Assembly members. That was quite an interesting one yesterday when a particular committee head came out to defend the reasons for that. And he was given roads, bad roads, being the reason for that. And then you're wondering,
What about the other Nigerians who plied this same route?
What are fate? Number two, so what are you doing about the bad roads? It means for them to have something nice or for them to have a good ride, they have to get a kind of vehicle that will make them ply that kind of roads. So why not fix the roads? Man, it's quite interesting. That will be off on the front page of the Nation. It's quite very interesting, awkwardly interesting.
Seriously,
take.
That's just the word. Awkwardly interesting, because the same route you guys will pass, the common Nigerians will be. So
when do I get my SUVs?
Oh, we'll talk to, you know who to talk to.
All right.
I kicked my set of headlines straight from the pages of Nigerian Tribune for today, and the big bold headline from the pages of front page of Nigerian Tribune says, Senate justifies purchase of 160 million naira SUVs. And you have the writer that says Nigerians should examine lifestyles of ministers. There's a comparison now. Probe 11.35 trillion naira spent on refineries maintenance since 2010. Now it's about ego. Probe says Nigerians should examine lifestyle of ministers. Really? Okay. Other stories there. Reps invite CBN governor over lifting of forex ban on 43 items. And you have the writer there to probe Benue bank robbery. And just below that same story, Nigeria to vaccinate 7.7 million girls against leading cause of cervical cancer. Please do. And also, Southwest governors visit Akeredolu in Ibadan. And you have a writer to that story that says, Ondo deputy governor tackles assembly over letter to CJ. Tells CJ to disregard letter to investigate him. And FG unveils plans to reduce collectible taxes. Says Nigerians burdened by over 200 taxes. Okay. There is a picture just above the major story there, and the headline just beside it says, Odua investment moves to revolutionize digital education in Southwest. Launches defined project. Thank you, Odua. Okay. And Clark to Tinubu, amend NDDC Act to exclude Imo, Abia, Ondo as non-Niger Delta states. And court sentences Lagos doctor Olale to life imprisonment for raping wife's niece. Wow. And also, U.S. court denies urgent request for release of Tinubu's dossier. So much to serve you. This is some of the headlines making the rounds from the pages of Nigerian Tribune. If you're interested, please pick a copy of the Nigerian Tribune up for this morning.
All right, from the Tribune, I'll go to the Daily Trust. The Daily Trust newspaper. And you have the big picture there is a very, very gory one of the pains and agony going on in the Middle East, specifically in Gaza. War on Gaza. UN Secretary General accuses Israel of violating international humanitarian law. War on Gaza. UN Secretary General accuses Israel of violating international humanitarian law. With riders, says we must oppose anti-Semitism and anti-Muslim bigotry. Israeli ambassador calls for Guterres' resignation. Israeli police shut down Al-Aqsa Mosque, which was part of the contention ab initio. It was part of the reasons given by the Hamas, that the Hamas group, that the Al-Aqsa Mosque rather, was desecrated. Those are what there was, and they had to just do what they had to do, which was indefensible, by the way, because if anything has to do with you attacking someone else, especially civilians, I wonder how that is defensible, and that you have that picture there of Gaza Strip, a Palestinian month, as air defense teams and residents search for people trapped in the debris after an Israeli strike on the Al-Shati refugee camp. You know, on this matter, it was quite an heated one yesterday towards the evening when that news came out. The heated when Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, you know, spoke on the matter, and the Israeli, representative wasn't having it at all. The Israeli ambassador spoke back, and it was quite an heated one. He used very strong language, and he then called for the resignation of Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General. Moving on, how banditry forced Zamfara residents out of their homes. Sadly. Senate defense exotic cars for members says Nigerian roads bad today. Make sure you get yours so that at least you will have a smooth ride anytime you are coming in and out of Oshobo. Yeah. Bandits raid Kaduna Mosque, gunned down imam and worshipper. Wow. How? Why? Lagos doctor backs live jail for defiling wife's knees. That's it. And Kogi Bayelsa Imo governorship post. INEC chair raises alarm over violence. Talking about Kogi Bayelsa and Imo off-season gubernatorial election. Yeah. And MTN ordered to pay 57.5 billion tax default to FG. That's it. And sadly, elder statesman Adamu Fika dies at 90. Quite a ripe age, but then a loss is a loss. That will be all from the front page of the Daily Trust for today.
And from Daily Trust, I'll go to This Day newspaper for today. This Day newspaper, quite a whole lot of writers, headlines making that daily for today. And you have the big book caption there, speaking about former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Obasanjo, Nigeria can overcome forex crisis by exploring non-oil exports. And you have that writer associated to that story. Orama says AFCFTA has capacity to unlock $3 trillion GDP for Africa. And just above that story I reeled out now, you have that story. It starts from there, and in black it says, Atiku, I didn't falsify name. Lagos court worked on Saturday in 1970s. And you have the major story there. Supreme Court bench depletes further as hearing in presidential. Guba appeals starts today. Let's look up for other stories still making the rounds there. Okay, you have a review plan to pay 500 million naira fine for inmates. Falano advises Tunde. Review plan to pay 500 million naira fine for inmates. Falano advises Tunde. Okay, if you're interested in that story, please, you can check it out there. And just above that story I just reeled there. Now you have this farewell to Mr. Insurance. And you have from left to right, former Vice President and Treasurer of World Bank there, Ms. Otey there, Governor Alex Oti of Abia State, and former Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Chief Udo Emmanuel, exchanging pleasantries at the funeral of Professor Joe Iruku, Nigeria's first professor of insurance in Item Bende local government. That's in Abia State over the weekend. All right. I would say may he so rest well. And going to the top strip of the same daily This Day newspaper for today, candidates' nomination can be contested as pre-election, post-election, appeal court rules. And the writer there says nullifies Senate minority leaders election. Oh boy. US seeks increased investment to develop young Nigerian talents. Please help us out as well. We've got quite a whole lot of massive talent up in here in Nigeria. One of them is myself, a young youth who would really love to do quite a whole lot if the funds are
available. You have to add young at the back of your youth. Wow, interesting.
very young. And that will be what I have got for you from the pages of this day newspaper for today.
And we head straight to The Guardian. The Guardian for today, quite a very interesting, of course, data, statistics, graphical representation there. Insecurity defies 261 National Assembly motions, 20 legislations, 12 trillion naira in 16 years. Insecurity defies 261 NAS motions, 20 legislations, 12 trillion naira in 16 years. Of course, you have different pictures of critical stakeholders, especially at this time and in the recent time past. The president there, the security, military head of, military chiefs rather, head of security apparatus there, from the Air Force to the police to what have you there, represented. The NSA is there as well. Nuhuri Badu, former President Buhari, and of course, the incumbent President Bola Tinubu. 71,449 lives claimed nationwide in 16 years. 63,111 killed in Buhari's era. 7,582 under Tinubu. That's from May 29 to today, October 25th. Wow. National Assembly passed 261 resolutions, 20 legislative bills, appropriated over 12 trillion naira to tackle insurgency and insecurity. But here we are today. You have, of course, the obvious stares us at the face. Progress being made or not? Here we are. Senate reopens probe of 11.35 trillion naira TAM cost, 1.6 trillion naira loss on refineries, and Corporate Affairs Commission uncovers 189 fake companies. Wow. The electoral system and danger of over litigations. That's editorial. Despite 6.5 trillion naira spent on education in 7 years, federal government laments poor performance. And Lagos doctor backs life imprisonment for the filing wife's knees. And the troops neutralize 9 ISWAP terrorists, arrest logistics supplier in Borno. That's quite good to hear to know. Let's do more. Let's make sure these criminals are rooted off our lands. That will be all from the front page of The Guardian for today, and of course the last on this segment.
Yep. And at this point in time, we'll go straight into the conversation. We want to talk about what it means to that tax reform, taxation. What does it look like? What does this mean? What does this portend for Nigeria? 200 items to come down to just about 10. We want to talk about this, and the tax experts will be in the house this morning to really help us out. Please stay with us. It is Morning Spring right here from Western Spring Television. We'll be right back after this short break.
Nationalist and journalist, was the first Nigerian to qualify as a civil engineer, surveyor and architect. Born on November 14, 1864, Herbert Macaulay was the founder of Nigeria's National Democratic Party, the first political party in pre-independent Nigeria. Scholars of Nigeria's political history describe Herbert Macaulay as the intellectual bulldog of 19th century Nigerian nationalist movement, in deference to his qualities as founder and leader of 2 foremost political parties, Nigeria National Democratic Party (NNDP) and National Council of Nigerian Citizens (NCNC). His matchless versatility in party organization and control kept the British colonialists on their toes in the entire span of his active life. After his death on 7th May 1946, Herbert Macaulay remains a hero of his country, which recognized his anti-colonial struggles. Today, Nigeria's 10 naira coin bears his oval face and trademark moustache. Western Spring Television identifies Herbert Macaulay as a major character in history.
All 2 2
Samuel Ladoke Akintola was a frontal figure in the historical moves that birthed an independent Nigeria from colonial Britain. As a freedom activist, he deployed his wits, energy, intellect and oratory skills to prepare the grounds for constitutional talks that eventually culminated in the country's independence in 1960. The 13th Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land cut his teeth as a politician when he became a foundation member of Action Group, the dominant political party in the Western region, and was elected the party's parliamentary leader of opposition at the Federal House of Representatives. The crisis in the Action Group, which pitched Samuel Ladoke Akintola against his leader, was not only a sore point in his colorful political life, but a reversal of gains which characterized the exemplary leadership of Awolowo Akintola premiership. 23 years after his death, Oyo State University of Technology Ogbomosho was renamed Samuel Ladoke Akintola University of Technology to keep his memory alive. Western Spring Television identifies Samuel Ladoke Akintola as a major character in history.
All right, you're welcome back. The conversation will start right now, and it is about IGR, internally generated revenue, shoring it up, having something worthwhile for the government to go about its business. And how best can this be done is to shore up the tax base of the nation. What is really happening? President Tinubu, when he came on board, of course, had different meetings. How can we best work on these things to have a credible and a workable, huge financial base, so that to take care of some of these businesses, and then he put up a particular committee called the Tax Reform Committee, and that committee was made up and of different persons of knowledge, and of course headed by Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, a top person from PwC, to head that particular committee. They were given their scope of reference, and just yesterday they came back to give that particular report, and that is what we'll be looking at today. How essential it is. Some key points have been highlighted. This is the way to go on this matter, and this is what we will be talking about today. Mr. Oyedele, even at the inauguration of that report, the committee rather spoke about many things, which has to be duplication, chief among is duplication of many taxes. These will be worked on. So in that report, that has been worked on as well. And we have a professional in the house that will be letting us into these matters and more. Quite a very, very notable key point that we will be looking into today. And I have Prince ADEGBITE ADEMIKANRA in the house. He is a chartered accountant and a tax practitioner. Good to have you. Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good to have you on Morning Spring.
Yes,
yeah. All right. We delve straight now into the matter of tax. What does it mean? The report has been given already, and I will let you into some of those recommendations as Mr. ADEMIKANRA will then take it off from here. It's called the Quick Wins Report. Yeah. That's the head given to it. The Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee that was set up, they have come and given many recommendations. The committee has presented the report already, and with key recommendations to address critical economic issues ranging, from exchange rate management, impact of fuel subsidy removal, moderation of inflation, and facilitating economic growth. The key recommendations are then given. Mr. ADEMIKANRA, you've seen the report.
Sure.
What do you make of it?
Thank you very much. Good morning once again.
Morning.
I think for the background of the issue, we need to highlight some issues right here before we even go into the proper points.
Please.
When this committee was inaugurated by Mr. President, they were given three. They classified the report into 3 points: the quick wins, for which the report must be submitted in 30 days; the middle medium one that must be submitted in 6 months, and the final one that must be submitted in a space of 1 year. But the total tenure given for this committee is 1 year. However, the first 30 days, they could have submitted the report as at September, but for the fact that Mr. President went to India for an official engagement and he went to United Nations General Assembly, they couldn't do that. That's why they submitted the report yesterday. I haven't giving you the background to that classification. There is need for us also to understand that in Nigeria, Nigeria has been bedeviled with so much problems in terms of revenue generation. And for many years now, you've been hearing about deficit financing, deficit budgeting, whereby we cannot even get adequate revenue to fund our budget. We need to go back to the World Bank, we need to go back to the IMF to fund our budget. Even the one they are preparing now definitely is going to be a deficit budgeting because the revenue will not be enough. So with this, as a nation, we cannot continue to fund our expenditure without looking at the main important feature of the financing, which is tax itself. In fact, in most countries all over the world, tax is regarded as the black gold, that why black oil, that you don't even need to go for petroleum products anymore. The best oil you can tap now is tax. Or go to all those developed countries, they use tax as much as possible to run their economy. And most of these countries are doing very well. They don't rely on all those mineral resources, but if you have it, it will be an add-on. So in Nigeria now, this committee that was set up have now found out that, look, there are some quick wins. There are some issues that we can quickly tap into, like low-hanging fruits, that we don't need to wait for a very long time and we can quickly get more, Quite a lot of them. As at yesterday, we have about 20 of them, but I believe all these 20 points that were given by the committee, most of them we have tried in the past to tap into them, but for some reasons, we could not really do well. So let's see how it goes now. What the committee has done now is to make sure that they come up with the points. The president himself has given the go-ahead that the coordinating, the special advisor and policy coordination in the office of Mr. President should go ahead and, discuss with the SGF, Secretary to the General, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, to make sure that all MDAs in Nigeria, they tap into it. And when you look at the way we run our tax policies in Nigeria, the federal government comes with the robust policy, and it will now be cascaded down to us in the state and at the local government level. It is true, like you said, there is so much multiplicity of taxes in Nigeria, and to the extent that, look, people are bored, people are not happy, that even when you approach them to pay their taxes, they say, look, we have paid one, why are you coming for the second one? So what we need to do now is to put most of these taxes into a bucket, try as much as possible to reduce them. When you reduce them, they will still pay. Nigerians will pay, and you are going to make so much money, even unlike when you have so many taxes. Because the thinking of an average person, a layman on the road, is that, look, when you have so many taxes, then I will get more revenue. But studies and research has shown actually that, look, when you have a low number, very few number of taxes, you get more from people. And again, to shed more light again, before we go into the nitty-gritty of those points, I want to let you know that 1998, the reform on tax collection actually started very well in 1998 with the decree 21 of 1998, whereby the list of taxes were classified. The one that must be collected by the federal government, the one that must be collected by the state government, the one that must be collected by the local government. That was in 1998. And in 2004, it was actually enacted into an act. So it became an act in 2024.
The one in 1998, that decree was under the military rule.
Yeah, during the Abacha regime. But, in 2004, we have to pass it as a law in the National House of Assembly. And so when you look at these collections, some of them are interwoven there are some overlapping in the collections that we have. For instance, let me give you an example. For instance, local government are expected to collect what we call tenement rate. And states, as it were, can collect land use charge. And so if you look at these taxes, they are the same. I can come to your house now and ask you to pay tenement rate as a local government official. As a state government, I can come back again and say, please pay me your land use charge. Then you feel like, look, what is happening? Somebody came here on the same property. So what, for instance, what some states have done, which I'm very privy of, is that, look, some of them have come together before to say, look, let's merge this collection. You local government, don't worry anymore. As a state, we are going to collect it. But when we collect it, we'll give you a share of the income. And you can see that with that, people will respond very well. They will pay. And when you collect all this, then you can now share between the two of you. So that is part of what the committee is going to do. Now, let's now look into some of the points that the committee has read out for us, which was submitted to Mr. Governor as of yesterday. Let me start from the rear, because we have quite a lot of them. One of them, which is the number 20 on that list, for instance, is if you, as an organization, if you are owing the government, can you please come and pay now? We will forgive you of all penalties and interest. If you owe any tax authority, the law says that the following year you must be penalized with 10% penalty flat and another 21% interest rate for defaulting. Or at times the NPR situation in Nigeria can determine 21%, but most organizations, they put 21% there, but 10% flat, that one doesn't change for defaulting. Now, what the government is now saying now is that, look, even if you have owed us for like 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, please come and pay the capital, actual amount of owing. Forget about, you know, I tell you, this will go a lot to help us in this country. Quite a lot of people are already depressed. Even individuals, they are depressed already of, how am I going to do it? I am supposed to pay 1 million, but because of the interest and penalty over years, it has grown to about 5 million. So such organizations or individuals will now come forward and pay the principal, and that will be all. So
what's the aim of that?
The aim is for us to, you know, like I said, this is a quick win. The government needs money. So what's the essence of, you know, penalizing you when we know that quite a lot of you can pay? Because if they don't do that and you refuse to pay, what will happen is just like the whole, it will continue to months and for years, and so it doesn't pay anybody. This situation is a win-win situation that you can come around now, pay your principal, forget that. Banks do it too. When banks are going for what we call recovery, banks and banking institutions, they come to you and say, look, okay, you are owing us 10 million, but looking at the book value of your loan now is about 15 million. If you negotiate with the bank very well, because over years in their books, they have written it off. So if you now negotiate with the bank will say, okay, can you pay the principal? If you pay the principal, it becomes an extraordinary income in their books, because they've already written off. As a state, the states also have a budget. They've already budgeted that, look, 20 people will pay us this year, and you've not paid in 5 years. So it has been written off, sort of. Now, if you are not paying the state now, it's more of an extraordinary income to the so it's a win-win situation to the state, that they will get to get the revenue that they thought they have lost, and for you, because you believe the burden is so much on you, so you are going to pay. All right.
Let's now pick it one after the other. I know. It started from 20. Let's take it back. And so measures to address duplication of functions in public service, ensure prudent public financial management, and optimize value from government assets and natural resources. That's one. Let me add another one so that we maximize our time. Policy signaling and collaboration by MDAs, economic management, and policy execution team. I think this is on the side of the government. What do you make of that?
Yeah, even for all tiers of government, this applies to all tiers of government. So when there is no synergy, between the ministries, departments, and agencies of government, then government will suffer. There will be so much leakages. Now, what this is trying to bring up sort of now is like, look, we are going to synergize. For instance, if I'm in the Ministry of Land and you are in the Ministry of Finance, and somebody has come forward now to make payment for processing of CFO, in the Ministry of Finance, they may ask for that before you can, be given the contract. But the Ministry of Finance guy may not know whether actually you've paid certain levies, which you're supposed to pay for the CFO that he was presenting to the Ministry of Finance. But now with this new, with this committee, technology is seen as one of the pivotal role here. They will deploy the technology to make sure that, look, you, even at the Ministry of Finance, will be able to press the button and know whether this guy has discharged all his responsibility in the Ministry of Lands and Housing. And that is exactly what that is saying. Because what we have seen in Nigeria and what we have seen over years is that, look, you're on your own. The Ministry of Land does its own, the Ministry of Finance does its own, the Ministry of Budget.
There isn't that coordination.
There must be coordination. There must be synergy. All of us must work together. But they cannot even work together except you provide the platform. So the platform that the committee will now provide now is for us to run on the same technology. So once that technology is deployed, all the ministries, as it were, they will, log on to that, and they will be able to view all transactions that passes through the agencies of the government. And so with that now, leakages will become very, very minimal. In as much as it may not be possible for us to eradicate leakages, but we found out that, look, it should be reduced to the barest minimum. You can see in America, for instance, you realize that later they will come up and say, look, Mr. Trump, you are owing us. Why is it that Mr. Trump is owing them? Why is it that at that particular time, they were unable to track Mr. Trump to pay? It's possible. You can evade at a time. And you know that we always say in tax law, evasion is a crime, but avoidance is not. So if you now evade over years, the law will still catch up with you. And that is the essence of this policy coordination. That you are talking
and I think that speaks to number 3, use of technology, that data for tax to expand the tax net.
I think I need to explain the data for tax because it's a special initiative of the Joint Task Board. I remember 3 years ago, I was a member of the Joint Task Board in Nigeria, and we came up with this initiative that we call Data for Tax. What does it really mean? We want to gather all the information from the Corporate Affairs Commission, the Nigerian Customs, the Immigration, the NIMS, Nigerian Identity Management Commission. All the data of all these vital organizations will now be pulled together, so that at the press of a button, if you don't have any information with custom, with immigration, but if you have in one of them, then it is easier for us to be able to know that you are existing and this is a particular business that you are doing. So data for tax, because we realize that data is life. The best way for you to drive tax, apart from the fact that the tax rests on law, you cannot drive tax without law backing it up. There must be a legal framework. But then you need data to be able to drive your taxes. So that is what this one is saying, that look, technology has been developed. There is a special platform that will handle that, so that if you buy a car in Osun State, even if you don't register it in Osun State, but you reside in Osun State, by the press of a button, I will know that you have bought a car. And that is the reason why some people, we don't have enough information about our people. But if you register that car in Lagos, then that information will be shared by all tax agencies in Nigeria. And if you buy maybe a Mercedes-Benz ML450, and you are telling me that you don't have money to pay my tax in Osun, then we are going to track you down. And what this committee has suggested to the government now is that, look, those who are earning very low income, will not be bothered. And that is how it should be. You can't bother people who are walking on the street when big men are there making money and they are paying paltry amount of money as tax. So this data for tax will handle that. And there won't be any hiding place for all those big men in Nigeria. Those who are not big, as it were, they should be rest assured that this government is not going to trouble them. But those big men who make so much money
and refuse to pay,
the data for tax will expose them, will fish them out, and they will have to pay appropriately.
Yeah, you said you're a part of a committee that worked on this data for tax.
Yes.
Has it started functioning?
No, it has not started.
Okay.
If you remember, maybe if you read, those of you in media, I know you will have been aware. When this committee started, there was a report that they were giving close to about, I don't know whether 5 billion or whatever. Yeah. Somebody was saying, why? What are they going to use that for? You know, this kind of controversy started again. Part of the money will be used now to develop this data for tax initiative, because it's a very huge initiative, very huge. The financial application was so huge that most state government cannot even meet up with what they were asked to pay. So it was the Federal Inland Revenue Service that actually wanted to bail us out, but even at that, they couldn't meet up. Lagos State tried as well, but now the federal government is now saying, look, part of the money we are giving to the committee, develop this data for tax. And I believe, you know, like we said, they said, okay, this is what we are giving you. This is our report in the first 30 days. Just to let Mr. President know that, look, this is what we are going to use now to drive all those taxes. Maybe in the next 6 months, but before the end of the tenure of this committee, I'm very sure.
And I think it's even great that you have made this clarification, because going through somebody, that time they were talking about, people had 5 billion naira to a committee. So they were thinking, it's time to share money again. And so that's why these conversations are clear to say, the money is not even for the committee. No. In September, I remember Mr. Oyedele saying, this is not for a committee. It's for a particular purpose. Exactly. And it's very good that you have made this clarification. Exactly. Thank you for that. Thank you.
All right, sir. Let's look at part of some of the recommendations here to increase personal income tax, exempt thresholds, and personal relief allowance. Please help us out. What does this mean?
If you read that once more, you know, when you talk about personal relief, the essence of personal relief is to, like I said, the low-income earners, is to help you to have more disposable income. For instance, I remember maybe 2 years ago, there was a ban on a life insurance policy that, you know, normally when you have life insurance policy, it must be deducted from your income. It must not be taxable. It must be exempted. But at the time now, they said, no, it doesn't matter. Everybody must, you know, pay. There was a time they were saying, look, if you have 4 children, a wife and 4 children, that one also will be taken away from your, it will be exempted.
Taxable.
It will not be taxable. But at the time, all these things were not recognized. And everybody was just doing what they like. And look, if you have 4 children, I wouldn't bother about it. Your life insurance policy, I wouldn't bother. You will still be taxed on the whole amount of money. And your personal income tax is related to individual. And these are collectible at the state level, not at the federal level, except for members of the armed forces, the Navy, the Army, and the likes. It is the Federal Revenue Services that collects their personal income tax. But apart from those are the police. But even the civilian in the police, the state government will collect those ones. But if you are a member of the Nigerian police and the armed forces, it is the federal government that collects your personal income taxes. But apart from that, like you, my colleagues here, the state government will collect your personal income taxes. So what that one is just saying is like, look, we are going to look at it and make sure that all the reliefs that you must enjoy, you have to enjoy them so that you have more money in your hand. And truly, honestly, if you have more money, more disposable income, you can go to the market. When you go to the market, there will be more money in circulation, and productivity in the circulation will be enhanced. That's that.
Right. One other thing quickly before I bring you Femi is tax break for private sector in respect of wage increases to low-income earners and transport subsidy and net increase in employment.
Yes.
That has to do with
private organizations. What that is very clear. At this point in time, everybody is trying to agitate for wage increase. Yeah. So if organizations are doing that, they would need to file a paper to the government to let them know that, look, we have increased the salary of our workers. Those who are on 30, they are on 50,000 naira now. And because we know there will be a lot of burden on the private sector, on that private organization. So what this is going to say is that, look, there will be an arrangement for them to have a tax break. Tax break in the sense that, look, there are some, like the company income tax that they have to pay again. Then the government can say, look, we are giving you 1 year. Don't pay for the next 2 years. Okay? For it to cushion the effect of what the situation outside there is having on you. But now you look at it, you think like, look, government is going to lose a lot on that. What government is going to do is that it may be tax break, it may be a reduction, but whatever the government is going to lose, we will get it back from the individual whose salary has been increased. Now, when you now do that, because of the mass markets that it entails, it's easier for me to get my pay as you earn tax from individual than to get the company income tax from the company, which is one. Because in an organization, you can have close to 5,000 people. In an organization, you can have close to 10,000 people. In an organization, you can have 200 people. Now, if I decided to say, look, you as a company, we are reducing what you are going to pay as the tax, or we are giving you a tax break of 1 year, all those employees whose salaries have been increased, look at the multiplier effect. So government will not lose at all, government will get more. But at the end of the day,
so it's a win-win kind of a situation.
All these things have been weighed, have been analyzed, it has been weighed, and the committee find out that, look, it's proper, it's easier for us to get more money. When we now give you some form of holiday as a private organization, then we can now go back to individuals and say, it's true, you've written, you said you've increased the salary of your employees, fantastic. So we need our pay from those individuals.
So it means if you won't get it from corporately,
you get it from the individual
because you now have more money in their hands.
And the staff, to the employees too, will even have more money too, because if I increase your salary from 30,000 naira to 50, probably I need to let you know again that 3 years ago, because why this initiative is good now is because every year government come up with what we call Finance Act to drive the following year budget. Say, for instance, now there was a Finance Act of last year that is driving this year's budget. Every year we do that. So in that Finance Act, certain issues like this will come up. I say, okay, next year we are not going to do this, we are not going to do this. But all this, what we are doing now, there may not be any room for Finance Act again because it will have captured everything. 2 years ago, there was a Finance Act that anybody, any 30,000 naira and below should not be taxed for PE.
They see them as low-income earners.
Yes, I know that this organization, those who are any less than 30,000 will not be taxed. Now, what I'm now saying is this. You are not paying any taxes as a 30,000 worker. Now, we have increased your salary to 40,000 naira. You will not pay tax.
Definitely.
Now, you see yourself that, look, I'm earning 40 now, which is an appreciable growth from initial 30,000 I was being paid. By the time you pay tax, maybe you pay tax of 3,000. Then you have 30,000 for yourself, 3,000 for the government. I remember that before now, government is not taxing you. So this is some of the things we...
Mr. ADEMIKANRA, now on that point, one will say, who monitors and who confirms this particular claim by institutions, by private firms? Because some mischievous ones might file papers to say, you know what, I've increased the wages of my workers and now my wage bill is increased, the utility has been increased, so excuse me from this thing. And then you get to the company and you realize the situation is not the same. Who monitors? Who confirms? Because as we have honest Nigerians, We have some mischievous ones as well who just want to milk this particular point without their workers really earning those things that are claimed.
Thank you very much. I think this is our job. Just like you are a guru in the media business, we are gurus when it comes to tax collection.
Absolutely.
In every tax authority, every agency, they have a department called Audit and Investigation. And in that Audit and Investigation department, they still have sub-department they call Enforcement. Those are the ones, because we know quite well what you have said, we know quite well it will happen. And so government itself have set up its own machinery to monitor and to make sure that things work well. Take for instance, when we were talking about the tax holiday, we didn't, it wasn't a blanket reduction. It was like on the relief. That is, if you increase your cost, your employee's salary. Now, if you write your payroll for the following year, following month, will show that Mr. Tunde, Mr. Femi, as their wages increased, as a wage increase, because when you look at what you collected last month, we check it, the payroll will show. And most of the payrolls these days is no more manual, they are automated. So we ask you, can you let us see the payroll? Can you let us see the bank statement? We are empowered by the law. Tax agencies are empowered by the law to request for any document. Any document. And failure for you to provide the document, it is a criminal offense. So you dare not do it. I need to see the payroll of your staff from so years to so years. I need to see the bank statement. So we'll now trace the payroll, the payment you made to Mr. Femi from the payroll to the bank statement. If it doesn't tally, you have a query. And so that's the way all those things are monitored. And I believe all those things will be monitored very well.
All right, moving on. Some of the recommendation includes permitting the payment of taxes on foreign currency denominated transactions in Naira for Nigerian businesses. And then, just to add, to remove impediments to global employment opportunities for Nigerians based in Nigeria.
Fantastic. There are two things. The first one is the issue of paying
taxes on foreign currency
denominated in Nigeria.
In Naira.
In Naira. That must stop. What does that really mean? Let's take a let's look at a very simple example.
Yes.
A media house like yours, maybe your mast came down unknowingly, and you need to source another one in the United States of America, and there's this communication between you and that person. And they said, look, you should pay $5,000. Where will you get $5,000? As an organization, you have to go to the market to go and source for your forex. With all this is going to put so much burden on the existing foreign exchange scarcity that we are experiencing in Nigeria. But you know, when you come up with the law, it is a law. What the law is now saying is that, look, you will not pay that person the dollar. You will pay the equivalent of the Naira here through the CBN. The CBN will sort it out. You are not to source for the dollar because dollar is not our currency.
Absolutely.
And some people, again, they buy goods like that. They may ask them to pay VAT again and say, why must you pay VAT in dollar? The VAT, because the VAT you are paying again is to the local agency here.
Yes.
Why are you paying? Because if you buy 5,000, we calculate 7.5% of it. So why must you now pay the local agency dollar? Are we spending Naira dollar in Nigeria? You have to pay the Naira equivalent to the local. That is what that one is saying. That one must stop. Before now, those tax agencies, they were collecting dollars from agents that will have to stop. And the second one you just mentioned is
to remove impediment to global employment opportunities for Nigerians based in Nigeria.
Do you know there is a law that, look, if you are working with American agency in Nigeria, the American government will tax you in America because you are working for them. They will tax your salary. and Nigeria too will tax you. But we found out now, having gone through some other countries, we found out that, look, India, for instance, if an Indian person in this country is working for an America, once an American government taxed him, Indian government will not tax. I say, let us take that impediment away. Let us make our people to prosper. Why should they be taxed in America and be taxed in Nigeria? If we continue to do that, then quite a lot of people will not be happy to take up these international jobs. So what we are saying in essence is that, look, the double taxation should be taken off from whoever that is working for an international organization. So once you are a Nigerian working with any international organization, once the international organization tax, then you can file your paper with your local tax agency that you have been taxed already, and you're okay. Knowing fully well that even the money you earn is for our economy. It's still here. You will still take the money, because the essence of all this issue is for us to make sure that we have so much money in circulation. Do not stifle people. Do not stifle them with so much taxation. Whether we like it or not, there's what we call indirect taxation in Nigeria. Nobody can escape that. Once you plug into that line, for instance, if you go to the supermarket, you go and buy one or two things, you'll be charged VAT. Unknowingly, you are paying VAT. Even at times, so when you go to a supermarket, you say you want to buy this pen, and they say it's 10 naira, and you pay that 10 naira. You didn't know that VAT has been built into it. So in that sense, when you have so much money in your pocket, then you can go out, you can spend the money. We are still going to make more money from that. By you merely spending. Yeah, by mere spending.
And you know, this gives credence to the fact that if these international jobs, remote jobs, that if they are being paid, and for example, the American company deduct the tax, and Nigeria still goes ahead to deduct the tax, it might even make some of them to say, you know what, why will I be here and tax is being deducted? Let me move to the other side, and that money will be removed.
It's a sort of disincentive for you to be taxed there and be taxed there. So Nigeria said, look, let us de-emphasize that, and let us allow you to have,
in as much as it's still in
the economy. And even if, for instance, if you are maybe you are paid dollars, for instance, that means dollars is coming to Nigeria. We are building our foreign reserves, and the pressure on the naira will now go down, and that is what is actually costing all this naira. Yesterday, 1,200 naira to the dollar. Let me tell you, it will continue, except we Nigerians will look inward and make sure that all those things that are all those factors that are affecting our naira to crash, we do away with them. We should go. We should look inward. You must consume locally made goods, locally made products. You understand me? You must not spend unnecessary money to purchase foreign goods. If we can do that, honestly, the naira against dollar will appreciate, and it will be better for us.
All right. Well, one of the other recommendations as put together by the committee is the withholding tax reforms. And please, you help us out on that. And the waiver of penalties and interest. What does these two things mean? First, let's look at the withholding tax reform. First of all, clarify, help us out. Give us a broader understanding of this, please.
Okay. You know, the withholding tax issue has always been a problem in Nigeria. There is an underlying principle on withholding tax. Withholding tax is the tax you pay in advance. That's the meaning.
In advance.
In advance, because we suspect that, look, if you don't pay now, by the time you're supposed to pay, you may run away, or pay it in advance, so that when it is the time for you to actually pay, we'll look at the value of what you should pay, and if what you have paid in advance is more, we'll refund to you the balance. But unfortunately in Nigeria, most people don't think about the refund. They don't even ask for it. They don't even ask about it. And the tax authorities too, they enjoy the free money. Now, what we are saying is that the reform now is that, look, it must be stated in a way that you, as a layman, must know that, look, the withholding tax I'm paying, later I must get a refund for it. Let me give you an example of what a withholding tax is, plainly and clearly, for those who are viewing at home. Venus at home, you buy, let's look at it. Okay, you do a contract for a government. And the government says, look, you are paying 5%. Normally it's 5% for an individual or an enterprise and 10% for limited liability company. But you got the job as an enterprise, and maybe to supply, or probably even here, maybe you ask contractors to supply pens to the or stationery to Rave to Western Spring television. So if the person now bring all those things, maybe it's to the tune of about 2 million, you are not supposed to pay him 2 million. You're supposed to deduct from that 2 million 5% VAT, withholding tax. Then 7.5% VAT.
Okay.
Now the 7.5% VAT we know is VAT. The 5% withholding tax that you have deducted from that person's payment is not taxed actually. At the end of the year, he will now file his paper. What are those things that he has done within the space of that 1 year? And he will calculate his tax and file it with the tax authority. If what he's supposed to pay as a tax is more than all the withholding tax he has paid before, he will pay more. But if the withholding tax that have been deducted is more than what he should pay as a person, then the balance must be refunded to him. And that is the reform we are talking about. So people must be made to pay. And the reason why this reform is good is like, look, you'll be eager to pay because you know that at the end of the day, you'll be refunded if you have overpaid. People are happy. You know, people should pay joyfully. Tax payment is not to kill you. Tax payment is to make you responsible. We have children in schools and joyfully we pay their school fees. Why? Because we know in future, our children will bring reward to us, even by our name, that they are successful. That's a reward. And so you don't pay your children's school fees grudgingly, bitterly. And that's the way tax payment should be. As a citizen of Nigeria, you must pay your tax willingly, happily. And that is the reason why we say that, look, tax payments must be made very simple. There must not be any complexity along the way. You must know what you are worth, and you must know what you should pay at one point in time on the other.
All right. We'll go on a short break very shortly. But let's look at item number 8, which is not entirely new. Suspension of VAT on diesel and tax waivers on CNG conversion and renewable energy items, especially the first line, suspension of VAT on diesel. That was announced, especially part of the agreement between the government and Labour. And some will say, if that is the situation, if VAT has been removed from diesel, how come diesel is 1,000 naira plus now? It's not looking like something is like is helping Nigerian people. Because I remember it was part of the recommendation or agreement of the federal government to Labour just like less than 3-4 weeks ago to say this is what is going to be done. And if that has been done, how come these things? A liter of diesel is over 1,000 naira.
Yes, you are very right.
And if that has been put again in this, how does it pay Nigeria?
Okay, thank you very much. And in fact, VAT on diesel has been removed for like 3 weeks ago. You know, I told you, I said this report came late.
Yeah.
It was a part of the report that must have been submitted like a month ago to Mr. President.
Yeah.
So, but because the pressure from the Labour made government to pronounce immediately that, look, VAT on diesel has been removed, and that has been removed anyway. And you kept on saying, why is it that diesel is still over 1,000 naira? I tell you, if
VAT removed, the price is skyrocketing.
Yeah, but you know, the naira to dollar exchange moved up recently in the past 2 weeks. If you look at the exchange of dollar 2 weeks ago, it was about 900 and something.
930, 970.
And it's now 1,300. So it is the dollar naira exchange that dictates the price of the diesel because we keep on importing them we are not refining in Nigeria. But I think that is going to be a thing of the past very, very soon, because by December, I think 2 of our refineries will come on board, and I can assure you that one will go down a bit. But like we said now, if that VAT was not taken out, the price of diesel will still have gone more than what we have now. That's the implication.
If it had not been removed.
If it had not been removed, it will still have gone more than what we have now. So I think it's still okay. Thank God that that has been removed. And you know, before I forget, Femi asked me a question the other time when you were saying the tax waiver.
Yeah, and penalty interest.
That was where I started, number 20. That's where I started. The waiver for penalties. That, look, you are owing the government money over time in form of taxes. That at least there is a principal amount of money that you are owing before those penalties and interest rates were added. So we are now saying, look, we are going to give you a waiver on that. You won't pay penalty, you won't pay interest rate, just pay the principal amount of taxes that you are owing. That's exactly. And you are talking about the CNG. Yes. The CNG is compressed natural gas. Yes. Now that's the way to go now, because people of the opinion that, look, the fuel price is skyrocketing, and what do we do? And there is this thinking that if people will now divert to compressed natural gas powered machine, then the cost of production will be reduced. And that's exactly what that is saying. That, look, on that your CNG, there won't be any VAT on the gases that you're going to pay. So if your car will be powered with CNG, then you will not pay VAT on CNG. If your company is being powered with compressed natural gas, which is CNG, then VAT on that also will be waived. And so that the cost of production will be kept low. You can make more profit. When you make more profit, you pay more taxes to government, and it will be a better situation for all of us.
All right. Thank you. We'll be speaking with Mr. Prince ADEMIKANRA, and he's still here. We'll go on a short break right now. But we've been talking about the quick wins recommendations made by the Taiwo led tax reform committee that was submitted yesterday. Many items have been recommended in that particular report. We'll take it over when we come back from this break. It's still Morning Spring from Western Spring Television. Please stay with us.
Ahmadu Bello, a Prince Royal, was born 6th of December 1910 at Raba Village, Sokoto, northwestern Nigeria. His father was a district head and heir apparent to the Sultanate throne from the house of Usmanu Danfodio, a religious and social reformer who brought the Habib dynasty under the Fulani Caliphate in the beginning of the 19th century. Ahmadu Bello raised the bar of political consciousness in participation when, in 1944, he engineered the establishment of the Northern People's Congress (NPC) as the first political party in northern Nigeria and the rallying point for politicians in the region before independence. History will not forget Ahmadu Bello for his charisma and political sagacity, which provided easy passage for his kinsmen to assume political and administrative positions in Nigeria's post-independence era. The distinguished elder statesman and Sardauna of Sokoto has his face on his country's 200 naira currency as a mark of honor to one of the architects of Nigeria's independence. Western Spring Television identifies Ahmadu Bello as a watershed character in history.
Arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Ever expounding current events. Traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sports news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and fast. Detailed facts are fled. Within seconds, nuggets of words that
Morning Spring is still here, and thank you for joining us, and thank you for being here with us. If you are just tuning in, we have been looking at something that came out yesterday, streamlining of tax reforms, the quick win report as submitted by Mr. Taiwo Oyedele to Mr. President yesterday. And if you fully remember that a couple of months ago, this committee was inaugurated by Mr. President to look into this multiple taxations. Why do we have this in the country today, and how can we go about this route to make life, at least reduce the heavy burden on the heads of Nigerians at this time? Prince ADEMIKANRA, a tax practitioner, a chartered accountant, is still in the house with us, and he has really been helping us out to analyze and to dissect all these recommendations as it was made to Mr. President by the Taiwo Oyedele committee yesterday. Once again, Prince, thank you for taking time out to be with us.
Thank you.
Let's, and obviously Femi is still in house as well, so it doesn't look as if Femi is out of here. Let's move further because of the want of time. So many things were spoken about and were recommended by the Taiwo Oyedele committee. But let's look at, there was a call to digitalize the Forex regime and the excise tax on Forex transactions. Let's first of all take a look at that call to digitalize the Forex regime. What does this mean?
Thank you, Tunde. I think this is going to be the best joker of the year.
The best joker?
Yes, of the year on the Forex.
Oh, okay. How?
Prior to this time, there's nothing like digitalization of a Forex market.
Okay.
Well, if you digitalize Forex market, for instance, it becomes so difficult for you as a person to hold the physical cash.
Okay.
And that is the problem we're having in Nigeria. For me, I don't really believe that the value of Naira to dollar should be 1,300. In as much as I believe that, look, we are not doing well for ourselves in Nigeria. We are import dependent. We have our propensity for import goods is so high, and we are not producing optimally within the economy. Yes, all those are kind of factors that will make your currency to go down. But I believe we have so many speculators within the system. They have the money, they have the dollars, but they keep it. They hoard it. And so when you, as an ordinary person, is looking for dollars for your business, they will just give you a rate and say, look, I'm giving you maybe at 1,400. If you say it's too high and you move away, where do you go to? You can't find the dollar because dollar rate is a matter of demand and supply. If you don't have enough dollar in circulation, then the rate of Naira to dollar will be high. So, but if we now digitalize in the sense that, look, nobody can pay cash into any account in Nigeria. Those who have cash now, they will be given time frame. Within 2 weeks, go and pay your dollar to your account.
To mop it up.
To mop it up. After this particular time frame, no bank should be allowed to exchange to receive cash anymore. Now, if you now pay all your money into your bank account, all what you need to do is for you to be given a card. If you go outside of Nigeria, you use your card and it will be honored. And if you want to buy goods, you open letter of credit. All those banks will give you the letter of credit to open, and they will do that, or if there's any invisible transaction, based on your balances in your account, it will be done. And if we now do that, what would that do for us? Number one, we are going to monitor, we can now monitor the total value of our foreign currency in circulation. We'll be able to track, even for those who use that to fund terrorism and some other things. It now be easier for us to track the flow of the transaction in every account, how money is going on and how much is coming in. For now, nobody is doing that because most of these transactions in our currencies are done physically. So if we now do that, we make sure that, look, nobody can transact with cash, hard currency in Nigeria. Then it will go a long way. And the best way for us to do that is to make sure that we provide another alternative. So how am I going to spend my currency? We digitalize. Once we digitalize, then, you know, even in Nigeria today, I remember, you know, certain initiatives that government will give you will evolve over time, and over time you are used to it. You remember in those days when you drive your car, the road safety will just flag you down, and they will say, look, you are not using your belt, you have to pay. But these days now, I hardly see anybody now who drives now without using the belt. And in Nigeria, again, you see that for us to do transfer on our account becomes so difficult. We go to the bank, we do our transaction physically. But now, I tell you, many of us, we don't even carry Naira cash along with us again. We carry our phone, we carry to do our transaction, our ATM, and that's what we use for our transaction. And so this same thing is going to happen in the foreign exchange market. If this is done, I can assure you to a very large extent, it will help us to stem the tide of speculators, and the amount of currency in the circulation will be known, and we can now come to a time whereby an actual and reasonable exchange will be found for the Naira. I think that settles that.
And after all, the dollar is not our official legal tender.
No, at all.
So why must we be under pressure of having it in our hands?
Within Nigeria territory, you are not supposed to spend anything other than Naira.
Absolutely.
In fact, it is a crime. But unfortunately, we don't know. But now we are enlightening people, we are educating people to let them know that, look, dollar is not a legal tender. Naira is the only legal tender. But for the sake of the international business, you can pay for certain goods in dollar through the CBN.
Item 15 says imposition of excise tax on foreign exchange transactions outside the official market.
You know that, unfortunately, most people, when they import all these goods, what we just do is to just they pay the duty, what do you call it?
Duty fee,
and all the rest, clearing fee. What this is saying is that, look, they have been exempted on foreign exchange, or they've been exempted from paying excise duty. But now, normally excise duty, we apply it to some companies in Nigeria. Once they sell their goods, they manufacture their goods out, we impose excise duty on them, okay? But what this is saying is like, look, if we use foreign currency to bring all those goods in, you have to pay more. And why? To discourage importation.
That is the essence.
That is the essence. Because when you pay more taxes on your goods, you think twice. And when you now pay excise duty on that as well, you come to Nigeria, what you're supposed to sell at 20 Naira, you now say you want to sell at 30 Naira. Some people, once they have alternative for it, they will not go for the product. And what is that telling you? Those guys who are bringing those products, they may be discouraged, which is good. We need to discourage people from bringing those goods that we are producing in Nigeria.
You know, there is this that I mentioned earlier, suspension of multiple taxes which lay burdens on the poor. and small businesses and compensate with windfalls revenue of certain agencies.
Yes, that is exactly what I told you the other time, that look, those who are local, what would you call people on the lower round of the ladder, who are low income earners, that government is looking at it, and all those SMEs to free them of certain tax payment.
You know, I have to ask Mr. ADEMIKANRA, because there are many Nigerians who are innovative, who are excellent, who are trying to put business together. But then they have all kind of taxes on their necks, and some of them will just be like, how did I get myself into this? Because they are not even making money. They can hardly breathe. And Mr. President said, let them breathe.
But exactly that is where we started. These people will not pay taxes the way they have been paying. Yedele gave us a very simple explanation yesterday that in Lagos, for instance, all those people hawking pure water, they give them up to 7 tickets in a day. Ask yourself,
how much are they making?
Should they be the kind of person that should be paying that? But I tell you, sir, those people you are talking about, those who have initiative, let them please come up with their initiative. This government will help them in the sense that, look, we have said that we have close to about 260 official taxes in Nigeria. But we have unofficial taxes about 200. Now we are saying that we are bringing taxes down officially from 60 to less than 10. Now, if they bring it down to less than 10, how many taxes would your friend pay who is in SME? They can't pay more than maybe 2 or 3. And I tell people, look, there are some taxes you don't even have to pay except you run yourself into it. I'll give you an example. If you work with Ray, for instance, you pay payee, which is normal. You are not the one to pay VAT. Those who are supplying you will pay VAT, so that's not your own taxes anyway. If you put Western Spring television signage outside, you pay. But if you don't pay, if you don't put it there, you don't pay. So when you look, if Western Spring television, because it's a very notable media house here, as far as we are concerned in Osun State, and by extension, because we're on Star Times, everywhere in the world they watch us. So we may not need those kind of signage to reduce your cost. You understand me? That is not for you. So all those kind of taxes, those guys will not be able to pay. But what we are now saying is like, look at that your friend, that is to SMEs, he produces in Osun. He wants to go and deliver all those goods in maybe in Kwara. Or don't let me say, let me mention Ogun State. Because before, from here to Ogun, you have to pass through, or your, if possible, you pass through Lagos before you get to Ogun, as the case may be. And you see a lot of guys on the road stopping him, collecting this particular this permit, this one, all those ones will be eliminated. Because those are the kind of taxes that kill small-scale businesses. All those ones will be eliminated. But if you read that in very well, it says there will be windfall. Windfall in the sense that, look, your payment will just be in 1 point. Once you pay in 1 point, then it will be shared among the states that are into that. Well, that is what we call, there was this sticker that we did also in a joint task board, like I told you. It is part of what we are looking at, because you cannot be moving from 1 point to the other, and the people will say, you have not paid this permit, you have not paid this permit, you must pay this. All those ones will be abolished and eliminated. Now you only pay once, but when you pay once, there will be windfall for all tax agencies to share from that single payment. That's what it means. And I tell you, once you pay from 1 point, it's even easier for government to make account for it. I tell you why. If you move from Osun, you get to Oyo, they say you have not done this permit. You can show them a fake paper, okay? That I've paid this, I've paid that, all those things, and they will be confused. But if there is only one paper, they themselves, they know this is our paper, and there will be a way for us to verify the authenticity of that paper. Because by virtue, most of these stickers will have QR code, and you can use the phone
to scan
and know whether you are coming with a fake one or the rest. So now people will not be able to escape that. But I tell you, it will be cheaper for them. Because if you are to pay 10,000 and you actually pay 10,000, it's better for us to say pay 5,000 all the points. You will not be, you won't feel well. Now, if you pay that 10,000 only in 1 point, then we are sure it will be shared. It will be went for all the agencies.
All right. You know, because I wanted to ask, Nigeria by constitution, the government are in 3 tiers.
Yes.
Federal, state, and local. I wanted to ask initially if the states will agree because of these projections being made at the center. But you have just addressed the situation by saying there will be windfall that will be shared by everyone involved. Now, as we take it home, let me ask, as a culture, do we as a people like to pay tax? Because I'm asking this intentionally, since when people like us who are younger, we've always heard that the ADEGBITE days that will pass people to running away. As a culture, do we like to pay tax?
Well,
as a people,
let me simply put it this way: that look, I'm not directing it to Nigerians. All over the world, people don't want to pay tax. All over the world, people don't want to pay tax. So don't let us see it as a Nigerian problem. So I, for one, I may not want to pay tax now. You may not want to pay tax because we feel it's a burden. But it's so bad in Nigeria that people don't even want to hear of taxes at all because our government themselves are not being responsible. And we need to say the truth. Coming to this area, the road is a bit terrible. We even thank God that at least up to that area, the road is a bit okay. Government, people who are supposed to pay tax, they want to see that government have been judiciously and they have used what they have paid judiciously. Because when you don't expend all these collections judiciously, people will frown. Okay? If our government will intensify efforts to provide all social amenities that we need, then taxes will be voluntarily paid. Now, people are not paying voluntarily, and that is why government also must come up with a platform that will make you pay. The platform in the sense that, look, if I digitalize the foreign exchange transaction, if I make sure that, look, by the time you move from here to here, you cannot escape, government must come with that kind of arrangement that will ordinarily not make people to evade tax. But if you ask people, they won't like to pay tax. And that's exactly what I've told you. As a citizen, let us preach to our people. Please pay your tax as and when due. And our government, please use our taxes judiciously. If the roads are not good, please provide roads for us. If there are security breaches every time, please provide security for us. These are some of the things individual cannot provide. You say everybody is digging borehole in his compound. What is happening to all our water dams? It is the responsibility of the government to do that. And when government does that on their own part, you as citizens, you must. But like I always say, payment of tax is not a negotiable instrument. You don't tell government that, look, this is my tax, do my road. No, it's not a negotiable instrument. Do your own part as citizens, and we'll put pressure on government.
And when we flip it to the other side, how serious should government take this anomaly of tax evasion? Because for some of us who follow sport, who follow football, when some of our internationals who play in England, in Italy,
like Messi,
you know, some of those guys are caught evading tax. You see how serious. Some of them are even, they go to jail. It's as serious as that. How important, if you can just do that for us in 30 seconds, should Nigerian government, either of the tiers, federal, state, and local, if actually, you know, there be synergies more now, take the business of tax evasion, especially making examples from the top guys.
It has come to that level that government will have to sit up. And the tax to GDP ratio, that is the amount of taxes that we collect to our GDP in Nigeria as at 2021 is 5.6%, very low. The average tax to GDP in Africa is 16.5. Average, 16.5. it means our own tax to GDP is lower than the average of Africa. And that is why this committee and the government has agreed that the tax to GDP ratio in Nigeria must be taken to 18% in the next 3 years. So, how are we going to reach that level? Evasion will now become a serious crime. Like you have said, if you don't pay me as and when due, I've given you the opportunity that I'm waiving it for you now. After this moratorium, after this particular time frame has ended, if you don't pay your tax as and when due as in Nigeria, then the government with very strong political will will now need to go after those people who are evading tax. If we can go after those who are evading tax in Nigeria, tax collection will go up, our tax to GDP will also go up, and it will be better for all of us in Nigeria. But like we always say, I think we are spoiled children in Nigeria. Spoiled children in the sense that, look, we have oil, we have gold, we have this, we have that. All those countries you are talking about, like Spain, you know, if you don't pay your tax up to the required amount, you'll be dealt with, you'll be prosecuted, and you'll be jailed. But Nigeria, because we have all those things, we believe tax is not important. But now I think we need to come back home, we need to sit down, we need to agree and say, look, if you evade tax, I, as a government, I'll be after you. I will arrest you. I will prosecute you, and you'll be jailed. By the time they do that for one or two people or two organizations, all of that as deterrent, they sanction them. All of that organizations and personal, individuals, they will sit up, and all of us, and it will be a win-win situation for us in this country.
But pretty quickly before we allow you go now, let's look at the summary of all these recommendations.
Okay.
If judiciously this is enacted, put into use in Nigeria, where do you see Nigeria in the next 50 years?
Well, I will not even look at Nigeria in the next 50 years. I will look at Nigeria in the next 10 years. Yeah, like, look, we need to be serious and we need to be truthful to ourselves. This government cannot manufacture money anywhere. They need to use what we are generating. And if all these initiatives that have been put forward are strictly deployed and they are well accepted by populace, who are those people? You and I. For once, people should trust the government. Whether we like it or not, you know, like Yoruba proverb, there's one maybe a lice or insect that will kill a dog. When that continue to suck the blood of the dog will die. And eventually when the dog dies, he himself will die. We as citizens of Nigeria, we must not, we must trust this government, at least for once. Because an attempt for us not to trust them, it will affect us as well. We must pray for them. And we must look at all those points that Taiwo Oyedele-led a committee has brought up. Let us view them, let us accept them, collectively let us drive it. In the next 10 years, I see dollar appreciation. No, for the issue of Naira in the next 1 year, next year you see Naira will maintain a very reasonable level. That's that. Number two, all our guys that are Japan running away, they will come back to Nigeria again, because Nigeria is a very big market. If you have good initiative in Nigeria, all these taxes initiative will take care of the taxes you think will kill your business. You can now develop your initiative. You cannot produce optimally within the economy, and in totality, the country as a whole will be better for us. So let's not wait for 50 years, 10 years.
So you are very hopeful about this recommendations.
Very hopeful.
Thank you very much. And just to add it as well, you have said, we, the people, must do our part. The government, too, must show responsibility. People must see that what they are paying is working. Prince ADEGBITE, ADEMIKANRA, a chartered accountant and tax practitioner, thank you for professional take this morning. And of course, your patriotic take as well. Thank you. Because beyond being a professional, the last time I checked, you are in Nigeria.
And I'm still in Nigeria.
All right. Thank you very much. So much. That has been a conversation. And this is where we apply the brakes today, looking at the quick win reports a bit by the Tax Reform Committee put together by Mr. President, headed by Mr. Taiwo Oyedele that submitted their report yesterday, and of course that's what we have looked into. Trust us here at Western Spring Television to be on top of the matter. Issues of public importance, that's what we do on this station. God bless Nigeria. Femi Ojo is my name. See you tomorrow.
Thank you to you for being there, and thank you to our guests for being here with us as well. We'll be back again tomorrow for the Thursday edition. TUNDE IDOWU is my name. See you tomorrow.
So funny. Babe, can I ask you one personal question? Okay. Hope you don't mind. How old are you?
Jay! I'm just...
Jay! Enya, you know, say by me looking at you, don't cross 30. Ah! You don't tell her the truth. I swear to God, if you tell her the truth, now you go pay for this drink. You lose the relationship. Just tell him 26, 27.
Jay!
But make it no past 27.
Come on, yeah. Child of God, tell her the truth. Man will go love you, go still love you. Age is just a number, eh? So tell her the truth.
No be for number way long, go tell her the truth.
Child of God, tell her the truth.
Don't try, I'm not telling the truth.
No, listen to her. Tell her the truth, child of God. I said, tell her.
I'm 22 years old.
22?
Yes.
And you look so big.
Yes, you know, like we're big in our family. My mom is actually big. Took it from my mom.
Wow.
Yes, they are big. All my siblings are big.
Doing? How are you? Don't worry, sit down, sit down. What are you doing here now?
I'm having dinner with my fiancée.
Whoa.
Auntie me.
Jesus!
Auntie me. You're the wrong person.
This is my elder sister.
Jesus Christ. Wait, I'm confused. Are you saying that you are a younger brother?
Bruh.
You don't know.
Younger brother, okay. 2 days before me. Wait, 2 people follow her before you.
Yeah. And you'll be 22. David, if you be the father of life, now be say we don't see the mother of life. How old are you?
Sir, just for the benefit of doubt. 2 years more, I'll clock my 50.
Well, you say you be 22.
I can actually explain.
Why they say Lagos girls, once they reach 22, they go stop to the age.
They grow front and back sometimes.
Lord of Jesus.
No, I'm your baby.
Now you be my baby, I be me be your baby. I'm your child. Eka Roma. Eka so. Eka Le. 2 people will follow you, senior my ego. Hey! What have I done?
Now I know why Jesus wept.
He boss cry.
Its own people with their own way of life. The world of sports is never void of actions, stories, dramas, and scandals. I guess you need a sports show that can walk the walk and talk the talk.
On this show, we answer all your sporting questions. The whens, the whys, the wheres, and even the what ifs. Sports Spring is that show that will give you that new lease of life you've been looking for in sport journalism. Join me, Joseph Atewe,
and your sports Amazon, Nengi Ernest.
On this station, Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
Let's talk sports. Let's speak the most universal language of the world.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1, there are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 million copies sold every year.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. Most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. ADEGBITE Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.